Brag Lolly Show. The actual news from the underground media.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Brag Lolly program. My name is Brag Lolly. I am your fearless host. This is the segment we tackle the news headlines. Let's sift through the lies, shall we? Greece says no. It's a firm no. They've been leading up to this. This is reported in the New York Times. Firm no, decisive no. We will not deal with the consequences of our spending. We will simply give the middle finger to any fiscal realities. I've been to Europe. This attitude is pervasive. It's a leftist attitude. It's to hell with the consequences. We don't care, and we don't want to deal with it. We want to keep spending. We want somebody else to deal with it. Got a couple sound bites for you. Let's listen. Tell me if this sounds familiar. Tell me if this sounds like today's Democrat Party.
I don't like the austerity. I hate it. We all suffer. They should show some mercy to Greek people. And the national monetary system that wants us broke and dead.
I hope the no will be a mandate to the leaders of the European Union to change the very structure of the euro.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there it is. Now, here's the deal. Does this sound like California? Does it sound like New York? Does it sound like Democrat-run cities and boroughs and townships across the United States of America? We don't like it. We don't like. What does that mean in reality? Well, that means that in this case, other European nations, essentially Germany, have to pay for it. I mean, money doesn't just rain from the sky. That's an unfortunate reality, but it doesn't. Greek people seem to be unaware of that. So do the Democrats in this country. Somebody has to pay. In this case, it's Merkel in Germany, and they don't feel it's fair to make their businesses and their people continue to pay for Greek irresponsibility. I mean, that's not really difficult to understand. Anyway, it's a shame. The consequences will fall, and the Greek people will suffer. That's just a fact. And the European Union, man, I don't know. I suppose here's where they sit. They could go back to the negotiating table. That sets a terrible precedent. That means Greece and their irresponsibility will twist the arm of the EU. I don't know. I said last week, I think Putin's going to pounce on this. I think you're going to have all kinds of turmoil, geopolitical turmoil. And that's what fiscal irresponsibility does. When you hear conservatives like me saying you have to be fiscally sound, you need prosperity, you need free enterprise, you need people actually working, that's because, it doesn't stop at the fiscal edge of the water. It bleeds into other aspects of life. People get harmed. There it is. Let's move on. Rick Perry, ladies and gentlemen, delivering a kick-butt speech. Our bench is so deep. The conservative bench is so deep. I got to meet Rick Perry. I was very impressed with him as a person. A little bit too polished for my taste, a little too politician-y, but they're all like that with their little entourage. Very personable, bright guy, lights up a room, has delivered in reality by way of his Texas tenure. So here's the deal. The left's continuously dismissing Perry, but taking Bernie Sanders seriously. That's a riot to me. Wall Street Journal has a fabulous piece as the bullet points. You owe it to yourself to listen to that speech. And again, I tell you, we are just sitting at dream team level by way of the talent involved. And I think that says something about how vulnerable Hillary Clinton is. I think everybody and their cousin are throwing a hat in the ring because they think she can be beaten, and I agree with them. The extended speech at WallStreetJournal.com. I got the transcript up at the CourageCulture.net. I touched on this in the podcast prior to this one right now. If you want to listen to that, you can. I encourage you to. The scumbag, subhuman, illegal immigrant guns down a beautiful young tourist, pregnant tourist in San Francisco, has the city questioning their liberal immigration policy, should have the nation questioning it. Again, I have an extensive commentary on that subject matter. LA Times has that story. Corkin, the watermelon Pope, devastating critique of the Pope. He's headed into the worst Pope status of all time. He's just a leftist. He's a green liberal. I mean, his religion appears to be his social liberalism rather than his Catholic faith. The irony of this guy, as much as he cares about poverty, he will throw millions of human beings into the tight grip of poverty based on his idiocy and his economic ignorance. And that's just the facts. The realities of Obamacare are about to drop the hammer on the American head. Ladies and gentlemen, rate increases to skyrocket. Here's some numbers for you. 20%, 40%, 60% on new customers under the Affordable Care Act, which is Obamacare, which is socialized medicine. Blue Cross, Blue Shield plans. Market leaders in almost all states seeking to increase their average rate to 25%. In Illinois, it's 25%. North Carolina is 31%. Oklahoma, it's 36%. Tennessee, 45%. 5%. Some parts of Tennessee, 54%. 55% increases in Minnesota. Ladies and gentlemen, it's just going to crush people. Oregon, so on and so forth. Straight down the line. All I can tell you is conservatives have been begging you to pay attention. In all fairness, like 60 to 70% of American people hate Obamacare, and you have the Supreme Court's lawlessness to blame for this. But you also have voting for Democrats to blame. It will crush us. It will crush healthcare. It will throw people into devastating poverty. It is horrific, and we've spent $1 trillion. Imagine what we could have done with that money. For example, we could have insured the poor. Again, I ask you, take this as an example of seeing that Democrats and liberal policies care about power, not people. Remember that. Power, always power, not people. They talk people, they care power. You understand? They talk people, they care about power. Obamacare is a shining city of a hill example of that, ladies and gentlemen. It's sad. Get ready for a Mike Tyson-like blow to your pocketbooks. In more devastating consequences of Democratic leadership, a 7-year-old boy, along with 6 other Americans, gunned down in the city of Chicago. The leftist microcosm, the leftist capital, if you will, Chicago. Democrat Party, Chicago. Barack Obama's Chicago. It is devastating. 41 people wounded, by the way. Authorities said Sunday that a 7-year-old boy who was celebrating the 4th of July with his family was among 3 people who were shot and killed overnight in Chicago during an 8-hour period. 2 dozen other people suffering gunshot wounds. The crime is just horrific. This is a weekly occurrence, by the way. So apparently Black Lives Matter, except if it's Democratic policies, except if it's Democratic cities. Because, by the way, these are black lives predominantly. It's genocide. Imagine 14 people on average being killed in your city every week. Do you think that'd get your attention? Do you think the press cares about this? It's remarkable. I mean, it's just remarkable. The things we deal with, Confederate flag, people getting gunned down in the streets in Chicago. Schools devastated. Economic situation, socioeconomic of the area, devastation. Crime through the roof. Drugs through the roof. Corruption through the roof. New York Times has the story. U.S. government calls Islamic State by a new term now. DAESH. You're seeing this more and more. John Kerry, by the way, referring to I don't know, I think we should call them bloodthirsty, sadistic killers who should be turned into little plastic beads. Krautheimer, ladies and gentlemen, the worst deal in U.S. history. Ladies and gentlemen, it is remarkable when you actually look at this with sober eyes. In pursuit to make Iran a BFF partner, what we see here is borderline treason. I think it's treason, full treason, but it's definitely criminal, and it's remarkable when you actually look at it. Let's take a look at it. Okay, so here's what happened. When Obama's foreign policy took office, Iran was reeling. The rail was plunging, inflation skyrocketing, the economy contracting, the regime feeling huge economic pressure. And instead of what Congress and instead of what Republicans told them to do, which was tighten sanctions, increase pressure on the mullahs, the evil, sadistic mullahs, Barack Obama loosened sanctions, loosened them, legitimized them. Now we are on our heels, if you can even believe this, and we're going to have a nuclear Iran as a result. It's so breathtakingly irresponsible as to make you sick to your stomach. And I offer you this. I think it's too coincidental to be negligence, naivete. I think it's flat out treason. That's what I think it is. A nuclear Iran is treason, not just to the United States of America, but to the world. And that's what I'm offering you as an explanation for this, because no other circle fits the square peg of explanation.
I will take no options off the table. My policy is not containment. My policy is to prevent them from getting a nuclear weapon. Essentially, we're purchasing for assurances that the breakout is at least a year. We will convey our deep appreciation for the Islamic faith. As the Holy Quran tells us, the Holy Quran teaches that, and I consider it part of my responsibility as President of the United States to fight against negative stereotypes of Islam wherever they appear. And the Holy Quran also says Islam is not part of the problem. It is an important part of promoting peace. We are no longer a Christian nation. Let there be no doubt, Islam is a part of America.
A nuclear Iran. Krauthammer calls it the worst deal in history. I think he's right. WashingtonPost.com for that story. The CIA, ladies and gentlemen, in crisis. Yes, Wall Street Journal, rather, reporting this. The CIA is in crisis. Do you want to know why? Why do you think it's in crisis, if I had to give you a chance to get out in front of this one? Well, it's not enough diversity in its ranks, whatever that means. Forget intelligence gathering or protecting the United States of America. Nay, these are Democrats in charge. Maybe there needs to be more transsexuals involved. Maybe there needs to be more redheads. More, I don't know, sheep lovers. Who knows? That's the priority. Tippy top of the totem pole, ladies and gentlemen. It is insane, the world you live in, and there's an explanation for it. I offer it to you every day. This is insane. Wall Street Journal has that piece. Stroessel, Hillary, and the emails. Almost everything she initially said about this turns into a lie. China now verified to have hacked those servers. Russia now verified to have hacked those servers. The Islamic State now verified to have hacked those servers. And this woman is being taken seriously as the next potential president of the United States. This is just incredible. Lastly, ladies and gentlemen, I told you Jonathan Roach, or whatever the guy's name is, said last week, polygamy won't be next. Polygamy won't come next. All these crazy conservatives. This guy talking in Politico. I couldn't follow his argument. I encourage you to head over there. He doesn't have an argument. That's leftist fairy tale. Here's reality. Here's where you and I actually live. Montana, the first state in the union to now take on the very first polygamy case in the United States of America. That did not take long, ladies and gentlemen. Independent.co.uk. Pandora's box has been opened, and there is no bottom to the madness. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the Brock Lawley program. Be a people of character, fortitude, and above all else, courage.
Sunlight is the greatest disinfectant. Because when I'm president, meetings where laws are written will be more open to the public, no more secrecy. That's a commitment I make to you as president. I mean, think about it. Iran, Cuba, these countries are tiny. They don't pose a serious threat to us. I mean, if Iran ever tried to pose a serious threat to us? Essentially, we're purchasing assurances that the breakout is at least a year. Yes, we can.
Join the Courage Culture. Visit Brock's YouTube channel for an intellectual arsenal against the lies of leftism.